Alright, so this video is just going to go over digital kit bashing. Here on screen right now you see a couple models that I kit bashed already. Uh, this was a pickaxe and a maul from Artisan Guild that I merged together to make two different war picks. So over here we have the actual models. So we've got the pickaxe from the Spark Suit Goblins there, and then over here the maul from the Fighters Guild. So go ahead and get started with that. I'm using version 2.81 of Blender. You can do it with anything past 2.8 and the instructions should be pretty much the same. You also have to bear with me because I am not really good at the 3D tools here, so we'll do the best we can. So we're going to start off, we're going to select the pickaxe here, and since we're doing two, I'm actually going to make a copy of it. Move that out of the way. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to go in and do is switch over up in the top left here, go from object mode down to edit mode, and then we'll go ahead and edit this one first. So if we use the select tool here, we're going to use this subtract existing selection tool, and then over here we want to make sure on the right hand side that we have the toggle x-ray turned on. That's just going to let us select all of this to cut out at the same time. The reason we're going to do that is if we go here and select the bisect tool, you can see if we try to bisect this real close, it's going to cut into the handle there, and we don't want that because that'll leave a bunch of stuff floating around. So go ahead and start with the selection tool again there. Select as much of this handle as we can. Okay. And now when we do our bisect, it's not going to cut through all the handle stuff, it's just going to cut through right there. For this we're going to want fill, and I never know which one it is, the inner or outer, so we'll just do that here in a second. So we'll run that bisect across there, and then we just want to rotate it and look around and make sure it's relatively straight. So you can see it's a little bit curved. So we're going to move this over here real quick so we can see it better. This lets us rotate it around. That looks pretty good right there. And so you can see it cuts through those a little bit, so we'll move it until it doesn't do that. There we go. Okay, and then if we come down here to the bottom corner, we can select, it looks like we want clear outer, so we're going to clear that, and it's good to go. So it also looks like that face is flipped the wrong way. You can see it from the inside there, but that's okay. It'll get merged in later, so it won't really matter. Plus you'll want to run this through some sort of tool to repair it anyways. So one of the other things we're going to want to do is select all of these. So again, we want x-ray mode turned on, and then delete that. If I can find, yep. So it's X to delete, and then we want to just delete all the vertices. Okay. So that's it for that first piece there. So we can select the small next, and we're going to go ahead and copy it and make a second one. Again, we don't want to turn off X-ray here. We don't want to use the one that we have only because then we're gonna not have another one to work with. we go. Alright, so this one I'm actually going to rotate it because it's going to be easier later on to work with as well. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing again, but we're going to cut off this small piece here. So we go into edit mode again, and this time we don't need to worry about cutting anything else out or deselecting anything else. Just going to line up the camera as best I can so I can get as close as I can to that. Select the bisect tool again. And then do the bisect right there. And again, just circle around it, make sure it looks pretty good, and that's pretty decent. So then we'll choose clear outer there. That just gets rid of that piece entirely. Okay. Now we're going to go back into object mode. We're going to select this piece, and then we're going to use this cursor tool to put the cursor right on the back end there. And then we're going to right click on it, and we're going to go set origin to 3D cursor. And so you can see that puts that orange dot right there. That's the origin of that object. And we're going to come up here and select the cursor right in the middle there. This is just going to make our life a little bit easier later on. Then we'll right click again, go to snap, selection to cursor. And so you can see it connects that little orange dot with the cursor. So now if we rotate, we can rotate it around and get it exactly where we want it. Okay. That's pretty good. I'll move it just a little bit to set it in there, and I want a little bit more centered there, so we'll move it down. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So now if we select both of those and then we do Control J, it'll join them into one object. And that's it. And so since we make copies of these, we do the same thing to make that smaller war pick as well. That's pretty much it. I'll post links to a couple of tutorials that describe a little bit better than I can what the bisect tool is and how to use it. One thing that I did have to do was set visibility on the cursor. And the video I watched did not talk about how to do that. So it's this little two globes here, the down arrow, and then 3D cursor. If you have that turned off, you can see the cursor that was right there by that war pick we just made is gone now. So just make sure that's turned on, otherwise you won't be able to see that cursor to do the snap to cursor. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know.